Absolutely. Here's a 500-word story-style article based on the topic. 12 things to avoid when living alone as an older person. At 76, Evelyn had finally gotten used to the quiet. After decades of a full house, children running down the hallway, her husband's humming in the kitchen, the constant bustle, living alone was an adjustment. At first, the silence felt like an empty echo. But over time, she found comfort in the stillness. She learned to enjoy her own company, savor slow mornings, and take up hobbies she'd once shelved. Still, Evelyn knew that living alone, especially as an older adult, required intention and awareness. Over tea one afternoon, she made a list in her journal, not just of things to do, but of things to avoid. Here are 12 things Evelyn learned to steer clear of while living alone, and why they mattered. 1. Ignoring safety checks. Evelyn tested her smoke detectors monthly and made sure all her locks worked. She even installed motion sensor lights outside. Safety was non-negotiable. 2. Skipping regular health checkups. It was tempting to delay appointments, but she made it a point to stay on top of her health. Prevention, she reminded herself, was far easier than cure. 3. Isolating socially. Evelyn called a friend or family member daily, even if it was just a quick hello. She joined a weekly quilting group to stay connected and combat loneliness. 4. Letting the house get too cluttered. Living alone meant fewer people to clean up after, but also no one to help her manage mess. She made it a habit to tidy up every evening. 5. Avoiding technology. Though intimidating at first, Evelyn embraced technology. She learned how to text, video call, and even use an emergency alert system on her phone. 6. Forgetting to eat well. It was easy to snack or skip meals, but Evelyn created simple, healthy meal plans to keep herself nourished and energized. 7. Not staying active. She found joy in morning stretches, gardening, and neighborhood walks. Movement kept her body strong and her mind clear. 8. Overlooking medication management. Evelyn used a pill organizer and set phone reminders. One small mistake could have big consequences, and she wasn't taking any chances. 9. Being too independent to ask for help. Pride was no substitute for safety. She learned that asking for help didn't make her weak, it made her wise. 10. Keeping dark or unsafe walkways. She installed nightlights throughout the house and cleared any tripping hazards. A single fall could change everything. 11. Letting finances go unmonitored. Evelyn stayed sharp about her money, checked her statements, and watched out for scams. Living alone meant being her own advocate. 12. Holding in worries or fears. She wrote in a journal, talked to her doctor, and opened up to trusted friends. Bottling things up only made them worse. Living alone as an older person wasn't always easy, but Evelyn found it could be fulfilling, peaceful, and even empowering if you stayed aware, proactive, and connected. As she closed her journal and looked out the window at the sunset, she smiled, knowing she wasn't just living alone, she was living well. Want to turn this story into an audio sample? Just let me know which voice you'd like: Alloy, Echo, Fable, Onyx, Nova, or Shimmer. Absolutely. Here's an additional 500-word paragraph that continues Evelyn's story, deepening her journey and reflecting more on what living alone with awareness and purpose can look like. Evelyn had come a long way from those first months of uncertainty. She remembered how overwhelming it all felt when she first began living alone after her husband passed. The silence in the evenings was the hardest. Meals were quieter. The TV didn't sound quite the same, and the bed always felt a little too big. But Evelyn didn't let that quietness consume her. She slowly, deliberately turned it into a space for reflection and rediscovery. She began to see this stage of life not as an ending, but as an invitation to know herself again. She filled her days with small joys, writing letters to her grandchildren, baking banana bread for the neighbors, organizing old photos and memories into scrapbooks. Each act, however small, helped her reclaim her independence with grace. One of the most powerful realizations she had was that living alone didn't mean being alone. She created her own support system, a circle of trusted people she could rely on. Her neighbor Sarah, a nurse, checked in every other day. Evelyn also joined a local senior resource center, where she met others her age who understood the balance of independence and vulnerability. They exchanged tips, recipes, safety tricks, and most importantly, friendship. Their bond reminded Evelyn that even as routine slowed, life could still be rich with meaning when shared with others. Her home became her sanctuary. She went room by room and made sure everything was set up for comfort and ease. She added grab bars in the bathroom, placed essential items within reach, and kept a flashlight on every floor. She didn't see these adjustments as signs of weakness, but as investments in her well-being. The more I prepare, the more I protect my freedom, she would say to friends who hesitated about making similar changes. And she meant it. Evelyn had seen what could happen to those who waited too long to adapt, and she was determined not to be caught off guard. Emotionally, she also learned to take care of her mental health. She started meditating each morning. Nothing complicated, just 5 minutes of stillness and breathing. It helped her start the day with calm. She also avoided the trap of dwelling on regrets or getting lost in what ifs. Instead, she practiced gratitude for what she had now: time, a safe home, and the ability to live life on her terms. She reminded herself that aging alone wasn't a punishment. It was a chance to grow, reflect, and even flourish. Living alone in her later years had taught Evelyn something that surprised her. She was stronger than she thought. With the right precautions, the right mindset, and a little support, she discovered a rhythm of life that suited her perfectly. Independence no longer felt daunting. It felt like a quiet kind of freedom, one she had earned. And with each new day, she stepped into it not with fear, but with quiet confidence, and maybe even a little excitement. Would you like this new part voiced as well? Let me know your voice choice: alloy, echo, fable, onyx, nova, or shimmer. Of course, here's an additional 200-word paragraph to continue Evelyn's story and round out her experience. One crisp autumn morning, Evelyn stood by her kitchen window, watching golden leaves swirl across the lawn. She held a warm cup of tea in her hands and felt a quiet sense of contentment. Living alone no longer felt like a challenge to survive, but a lifestyle she had learned to shape with intention. She'd even started mentoring a younger widow, offering support and companionship the way others had once done for her. That simple act of giving back filled her days with purpose. Evelyn had also created a just-in-case binder containing medical information, emergency contacts, financial documents, and even a handwritten letter for her children. It wasn't morbid, it was practical. It gave her peace of mind knowing she was taking care of them, even when she no longer could. Aging, she realized, wasn't about trying to hold on to youth. It was about stepping into a new kind of wisdom. And in this season of her life, Evelyn had found her rhythm. She smiled as the wind picked up and thought, I'm alone, yes, but never truly lonely. Not anymore. With a deep breath, She turned from the window and began her day, strong, centered, and quietly joyful. Let me know if you'd like this part turned into audio.